Hello.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone today? That's great. That's super good. Enjoy this podcast. It's a good podcast. You should listen to it. Listen to the whole thing. Sometimes Woolie hides a funny meme at the end of the music. That's not true, but you'll find out if it is.
Sure. All right. I'm not one to turn down a new marketing scheme.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you know that that people hide memes in their products? It's true.
Did I know that if people hide memes in their products, it's true?
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Hey, so what do you want to talk about? Drugs. Let's talk about drugs.
Okay, I was thinking about maybe hitting it up with Baby Nut first as the worst thing that's ever happened ever. But yeah, let's talk about drugs and drug use.
Glad you want to talk about drugs.
Okay, how are drugs?
I hear drugs are fun.
They're okay.
You got to give me more than that.
Okay, so one Peach Saliva, aka my wonderful page, was like, Pat, you sleep like shit. We need to get you some drugs.
Oh, is that the premise?
That was the premise. And she's been asking everybody, how can I get Pat on drugs? Because Pat's sleep is so bad. And I'm like, I appreciate that.
That's cute. It's cute that there needs to be a premise.
Oh, yeah? Because Woolie is like, I Woolie, would love to do one drugs right now.
Because I know well enough to know that, that's the type. I feel like, okay, my guess on this, if I had to zoom out, is you like, by having a premise in place,
yeah,
then
we get to dodge the fact that in Canada drugs are just okie dokie.
But she's just like, okay, how can we get this done?
Yeah,
this needs to happen.
How are we gonna get this?
Right?
Oh, and sleep's bad.
Yeah, exactly. So she will find whatever scattershot reason to get some drugs in your body.
Yeah, because it was really funny because we couldn't go one day because I lost my credit card. And I'm like, oh, crap, I got to call this. And it's like, Pat, no, we need to go and get those drugs. And I'm like, we need to go?
There you go. Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
We need the drugs?
Big pusher.
And she's like, you need the drugs.
Big pusher saliva. Okay.
All right.
That's pretty much what I thought.
So I went to the place, and this was my first time in the Canadian government.
La Société de Cannabis de Québec.
Yes, that's correct. And it is the most bizarre store I have ever seen.
Because it's fucking clean.
It's not just clean, it's the layout. It's like a hyper pharmacy.
The empty room, and then the lead into the...
So,
yeah.
To describe it to those who are not from Canada or don't have one of these stores in your area... Straight up, two big dudes at the front behind the desk with Garda security, and they're checking you for ID because you ain't getting in there unless you're 19.
It's the Men in Black front.
Yeah,
that leads to the real thing.
And it's the kind of thing where it's kind of like an airport where there's a big center slab that has the logo, and you go in on the left side or the right side, and then on the other side, the left and right walls are closed in, and you would go forward through where the banner is behind you so that you can never see in from the outside. There's no way to do it. So you go in, and it's an extremely long pharmacy counter with like 10 clerks on it.
Bud tenders.
What's that?
Bud tenders.
Oh, bud tenders. Oh, you're in your element today.
No, not quite.
Oh, man.
No, I learned that term. I learned that term from another podcast.
And there's, they're wearing...
It's like a bartender.
Yeah, they're wearing their drug aprons.
Yeah.
Which they look like an American Safeway apron. It's green. It's happy. Mm-hmm. And you walk up to them and go, I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, aha.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I need the weakest shit you got. And then they go, here's the weakest shit we got.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do you got the vape thing? And I feel like a scumbag. They're like, no.
No.
And I'm like,
No, why would you go that way with it?
I was told by people to,
Okay, well,
and I'm like,
that's also not where you go if you want the weakest thing.
I don't know.
Okay.
And then they're like, well, here's some drops. I'm like, thank you for my drops. I will go now.
Okay. Yep. So, everything about that place, I think it's not the first time we've talked about it, but it's more than bizarre. It's really interesting because it is designed to specifically combat anyone who is a boomer
Yeah.
that has bad thoughts and fist shakes
Yeah.
about the concept of
There's
this
no
being
shelf
legal.
that you walk up to and look at.
Right? It is a, like, just architecture alone, before you even talk about what's happening inside the place. Architecture is designed in such a way that if you are a boomer and if you are like all these kids into drugs these days and you happen to walk by it or walk into it, like, you are forced to confront the nature with which this is the most professional looking,
it's more
clean and organized thing you've ever seen.
It's more official and clean than the passport office.
Completely. It is more on point than the DMV or the equivalent we have here.
I don't even know what we fucking call it. I hate that
You know what I
fucking
mean? Like, it is like 100% clean and lined up in such a way where you're looking at pure future.
And because
you know.
there's no shelf and there's no nothing, anyone who of the boomer status or what have you that does walk in
Yeah.
is met with a person who just asks, "Hey, what do you want?"
So, any thoughts about like the alleyway drug users
Yeah.
and shooting up and whatever and all this is what we're gonna, it's like you are forced to take all of those ideas and throw them out immediately. It's confrontational with how over the top they're being in being
It is
clean.
more sterile and
sterile.
clean and straight lines than the government booze store.
Yes, our own SAQs here, the Société d'Alcool
So for
de
those
Québec.
of you in the rest of Canada, including also outside of Canada, out here in Quebec, if you want to get fucked up in any way, go to the government. They'll fuck you up.
You can also go to the corner stores, but
Yeah.
the government has the hard shit and
All the good stuff.
And those are pretty much standard fare. Like, they're kind of like made to look like vineyard.
Yeah,
style.
they're like a boutique.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference though. Have you been to an alcohol store in America?
I have not.
Those are like just fucking sketch ass, like,
Yeah.
corner store style, lights and aisles, and just like, it's just scattershot.
Yeah.
Right. The way they have it set up here is surprisingly like there's an attempt at class.
Yeah.
With like some barrels and vines and, you know, little bits of grading sort of set up and separated and little hanging signs for
Yeah.
each section and whatnot. The shopping carts are not super gross plastic shopping carts that are clearly like they got the fucking cigarette butt stains on them.
Yeah.
And one wheel doesn't work and shit. Like, they have these little like French cute, oh, I'm going to put a few bottles but not too many.
So
that's a small shopping cart, so you can't overload it.
aside from that, in addition to these places being fancy,
They do that.
is they are staffed by people, booze and weeds together, who know every single fucking thing in that place.
There's that.
Because those people are getting paid a for real ass wage.
Okay.
Getting an SAQ or which is the booze one, or a SQAC, I think it is, the weed one, that's dollars in your pocket. People fight and kill for those jobs.
So, you know,
They're also government jobs, so you get a government pension with them.
you get a government pension, you get the insane benefits.
Yeah.
Good coverage, all in all.
I think it starts at the SAQ at like 18 an hour.
Oh yeah.
That's your starter salary.
Government jobs are shooting way up there for sure. That's no question. But in fact, I remember when my friends were applying and they were trying to, like, the thing about it too is like if you move, there's a whole setup thing of like priority of SAQ employees where like you definitely can get transferred to any other one nearby.
Yeah.
There's like a sense of tenure in a way, like a priority system based on how long you've
Yeah,
been
hey,
there.
you want to be a drug dealer? Get 18 an hour for government benefits.
So there's that. But in any case, though, yeah, I like I like the idea of basically like forcing anybody to like
You must take this seriously.
Yeah, you have to confront any dumb ideas you have.
Yeah, and
you know?
the place that we went to one way out of the way because we didn't want to go to the one in front of the movie theater.
Yeah.
Because one of them in front of the movie theater is hope you don't have an afternoon to spend. Because that place is fucking ridiculous. It takes forever.
Well, it's literally the central downtown location of Montreal, so there will always be a 45-minute line.
So we went down to one that was out of the way, and it's like, wow, this whole neighborhood is a shithole, except for the drug dealing store, which is immaculate by comparison.
Yeah,
it's fucking hilarious.
So there's that. All right. So, how are your drops?
They tasted like a wheat, like I was chewing on grass, like actual grass off the floor.
Have you ever?
The taste of which I remember from my childhood.
Have you ever? Oh wait, I asked you about wheatgrass before, and you freaked
No,
out.
I'm as of yesterday, fucking bordering on straight edge with the drugs because back when I was hanging out with my Russian friend and Fuggins and all those people. A buddy of theirs came over and had weed brownies and said, "Hey, man, we should have these." And I was like, "I don't know. I've never tried this before." And they're like, "Oh, it's fine."
Yeah, brownies will fuck you up.
And then they gave me a weed brownie, and I said, "Boy, I sure do love brownies."
So you ate the whole thing?
No, I ate 2.
Yeah, okay. So there you go.
And then I remember being very irritable. And everyone was very annoying.
So remember that time when you were X years old and you were like, alcohol, and all your friends are like, alcohol.
I do remember that time.
And then you drank a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
And then you went, oh no.
Oh no, alcohol.
And then alcohol was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you relieved yourself. And then afterwards, the next morning, you were like, fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, you go, okay. Notch.
Moderation.
Aware of the...
Yeah.
So what you did is the exact same thing. And if you interpret it any differently than that, you shouldn't be. Because guess what? Now you know that 2 brownies is way too much for you. And guess what? Generally speaking, that's way too much for anybody, depending on how it's mixed.
Yeah.
But that's insane.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be way stronger when you're ingesting it in your stomach anyway.
Yeah.
So
these are all things I really wish someone had told me.
Certainly. But for what it's worth, right?
Because I remember biting into the second brownie and the guy who brought the brownies looking at me and going,
yeah, I made the exact same mistake. I made the exact same mistake, not knowing that I was like, oh yeah, food, right? Sure. And here's the thing, before you like get your Sharpie out and start marking the back of your palm with an X.
Oh yes, okay.
For straight edge.
Thank you. Yeah.
Which you said.
Yes.
Before you start doing that, just know that you basically did a keg stand.
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah.
As your first attempt, and then went, what the fuck is beer?
Because and then
you funneled it to the back of your throat, and then went, oh my god, beer is crazy.
This led to many, many years of me being like, hey, no thanks, man. Primarily for because the basic deal was that I immediately found out afterwards, like no, not immediately, a day later. Oh, ingesting can be the strongest, especially if you just decide to eat whatever you happen to be eating. And then I'm like, well, here's the issue. I had parents who were chain smokers, not weed, just the good old cigarette. Both of them were having 2-3 packs a day, right? And then they quit and are now still alive because I nagged them as a child to quit. I win.
Good.
Anyway, point is, the idea of inhaling smoke is like repugnant on its basis. So everyone that I spoke to, I'm like, I might, but I'm not going to smoke anything ever. Ever. So they go, well, what about food? And I go, well,
yeah,
I don't think that's a great idea either because I had such a negative experience with food. So I went, So which leads to now where there are now 4 different weeds.
I mean, quite frankly, there's way more than that.
Okay.
Right?
You can inject the weed?
You can't. There is a syringe of weed.
Get the fuck out. Marijuana needles are real.
You made that joke.
I've been making that joke for a while, which I stole from my friend Jim. You're funnier than me, Jim.
But I will have you know that you literally, in the store you were at, can purchase a needle of weed.
What is it even? Why? What does it do?
So here's the reality of it. Like, all kidding aside, it is a syringe, but it's not a metal tip syringe that you inject into your body.
Okay.
It is a syringe that puts out a.
Oh, it's like a pipette.
And then you can just put it on. Whatever.
Oh, it's like that thing the doctor uses to clean your ears out.
Exactly. So you can just.
That's not a syringe.
It literally is.
Oh, it's a large gauge syringe.
You know, that's what it is. It's actually a syringe.
I saw somebody say inject Pat with a marijuana needle at random for the ultimate high, and I was like, I don't like that. Yeah. I don't like this.
But no, of course, you can if you're choosing which and how you want to do it, that's not based on smoke things, then there's of course there's people, guess what, have figured it out since the last time you had that concern. It's been about 10 years, and now they figured out some other new shit. So there's different ways for that to be done, including God, what was the crazy one? It was like putting it in.
Well, I'm seeing people in the chat say you can have a weed energy drink now.
Oh,
which is
easy. Yeah.
Nonsensical.
Well, okay, if you're talking about like literally just like ingesting it,
I would like to eat one weed, please.
then there's food, there's gummies, there's like drinks, there's all kinds of shit, whatever. But I remember, I don't know how I don't think it's this. I don't think it panned out too much because it probably is just a waste. But someone had a thing that was like, the room humidifiers. Yeah, there was like a thing like that.
Oh, get the
where
fuck
it's like
out!
For the purpose of like emphasizing the hot box in a way.
I don't know. That seems like you're wasting.
You're wasting a ton of it.
Most of it's gonna just settle on the wallpaper or whatever.
But effectively, if you wanted to just like breathe that in instead of actually having like,
I just want a constant low-level high every day.
Right? Then I imagine I imagine you'd probably sit next to it and do that if for some reason inhaling it directly would be bad, and or any other methods would be bad.
Yeah,
not going up the butt with it.
I'll just dump a whole weed in your butt.
I mean, it's what is it? Pink membrane, right? Anywhere that in the body that
all the body's outside juicy bits absorb stuff good.
So yeah,
if you got a juicy bit on the outside,
yeah. But anyway, not to mention that the whole thing with bongs and whatnot is also
I don't understand the bong.
Well, so you know how you know what you're just saying about how you hate the smoke part?
Inhalation, yeah.
Yeah, so in this case it's still that, but it's
No, I mean I actually physically don't understand the mechanics of a bong and why there's water in it.
Oh, okay. Well, so I've done shisha, and that it's the same principle.
Yeah, shisha sucks.
Or what it does is, if you get a nice flavor, it tastes
Here's
nice.
the thing. Here's the bonus on inhalation.
No shit.
Horrible perfume allergy.
No shit.
Which means being near... Every time I'd go do shisha, I did it twice.
Yeah.
I went in, sipped one, and my brain just... the migraine that your eye is going to burst out of your head?
Yeah.
This is great. People enjoy this. And it's no, it's actually me.
So it doesn't suck. It's just your body's fucking...
My body has decided that it sucks for me.
It's rejecting something delicious, right? Yeah. So, but... here's one thing you would like about it. Is there's these little plastic nibs that clip onto the tip of the thing that you inhale from. Yeah. And those are personal.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you hand it to the next person, you disconnect your nib and you put your own one on.
That's appreciated.
And it's hyper hygienic. So that's nice. But anyway, no, what I was going to say is there's basically a process by which the water at the bottom creates vapor. Yeah. And then that gets lifted up through a tube that then goes into what you
Seems
inhale.
Like a wildly inefficient vape machine.
It's not. It's actually hyper concentrated.
Okay.
And, vaping is obviously, it's the same idea almost.
Yeah.
But the difference here is that, by doing it, having the water in place, then you're not getting that ashy thing that you just hated, which is all the fiery stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime you're I'm breathing in
No, it's the breathing in.
Yeah.
In general.
So,
for me.
So by adding water into the equation, it's more like vapor, and thus it's less harsh.
So like this whole process, by the way, it's possible that I am slightly still high from yesterday because I did it last night.
How much did you do?
The minimum possible amount.
You're a tiny person.
I'm not that tiny.
It's
But
probably through your system.
My tolerance is 0.
But you don't know. Can you feel it or not? Can you tell?
I felt a little, but because I had the 0.
Because there's residual head.
Paige was able to tell that I was much higher than I was. Because she said, look in the mirror. And I looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh, those are big.
I mean, you like in general, do you still feel any like head tightness?
Yeah, a little.
Then yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Then yeah, that's that.
But what the fuck was I talking about?
We went into water and then the vaping thing and then the fire and the inhaling.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing that I found profoundly negative, and again, this is me. This is all Pat, is I gained a larger bodily sensation awareness, which included my heartbeat and my bodily internals, which I want to pretend don't exist.
Yeah.
The idea that my body is, hey, Woolie, you know that RPG that we liked where one person gets an X-ray of their body and their body is a skin and then nothing on the inside? It's literally like a black void.
Sure.
And they go, huh, that's weird. What's up with that? And they go, That's what I imagine is inside each of us.
So here's what's up. I was gonna say if you ever, but at this rate, knowing Paige, it'll be when you eventually get guided down the rivers of ayahuasca.
Well, here's the thing.
Or anything actually beyond like weed for whatever purposes.
I'm gonna start shooting that heroin.
Well, here's what's up, right? Anything a little bit more intense than whatever you had.
Yeah.
And you are going to be on a journey where I guarantee you are going to confront the sound of your heartbeat.
Yeah, no, that was yesterday.
And you're not only going to have to confront it, but it'll be about you getting over that.
I didn't like it.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're going to have to learn to live with it because it's literally been living with you.
No, I don't like it.
Well, that noise that I can see a journey that involves you coming to get acquainted with and eventually comfortable with that noise.
I didn't get comfortable with it, that's for sure. I became very uncomfortable for the entire time period that I could hear my heartbeat.
I hear you, but you'd be surprised what your brain can do. You know?
No, I wouldn't. My brain?
Yeah.
My brain can do all sorts of stupid shit.
Yeah. I hear about people like rewiring their shit in crazy ways.
Yeah. Though that is a matter of time because at the weed store we picked up one weed for me, which was baby's first sleepy time. And then
But if you're eating it, it's still gonna be hard for it to be small. Like to microdose in that.
The exact dose that I exactly had was 2.5 milligrams of THC.
Okay. How much CBD?
Way more than that.
Okay.
Like the vast majority of it.
Oh, so you just got the CBD stuff then?
Yeah, but it does have a little. No, I got there's CBD oil, and then there's the one up.
Yeah, well, so the more THC in it, the more effective the CBD part of it is.
Okay.
But if you are doing, like, if you just want super weak high, then you're gonna get mostly CBD, which is just all relaxant.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what I got. So we got that one baby's first weed for children, and then and I'm like, I would like one for my girlfriend, and they're like, what does your girlfriend want? She says she wants to laugh so hard she might throw up, and she's like, okay, 1 second, and brought one back that is like 3 times as strong as the one that I picked up for babies.
Sure.
And Paige enjoyed that very much yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a situation where it is literally one fuck it away from me having to confront my horrible, horrible, disgusting organs.
Well, I mean, curiosity will get the better of you, certainly. That's how that starts.
I don't know. I
That's
once
how it
ate
goes.
the same lunch for like 2 years.
Certainly, but it's not as if you had to avoid a more delicious lunch to get to that lunch every time you went to pick it up. See, now if there was a tray of a better lunch on top of the lunch you were going for,
I don't know.
you'd have to reach around it every time, then it would be a different story.
I don't know.
Well, ultimately at the end of the day, I think that that's not necessarily what I'm talking about either. Because like even if you like were to get a super THC high,
I hate my
like
organs.
you would just have a super THC high. Like you're still there, right? I'm talking about if you ever were to touch anything where you like literally were like, I'm not here anymore, I'm over there.
Yeah.
If you went there, then yeah, that heartbeat is gonna have to be something you get acquainted with. And you know what? Let's say you did, and then afterwards you were like, hey, look at that. That noise doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah, possible.
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
I think probably my most enjoyable part of this whole scenario is going on to like official ass looking websites and reading specific strain reviews.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all hilarious.
Because all the weird dumb names that like street hustlers came up with are now official.
Yeah, but also it's like people doing car reviews but for like altered states.
Yes.
It's like aftertaste minimal, excitement level low. However, I watched TV for half an hour without realizing the television was off.
It would be fantastic if we could get the official Quebec announcer phone voice lady.
Yeah.
That's just like pour service en anglais.
I hate that bitch. I hate
Yeah,
it.
right. So if we can get that super official sounding thing where you're basically having someone walk you through the idea of like, OG Kush.
Yeah.
1996, right? Or Quebec Gold.
Yeah.
2011.
Discovered in Sebastien, Quebec's backyard.
It would be wonderful. It would be really, really funny because, Pineapple Express is a name that's real now. That's the name of the thing.
Literally going down the list and it's like named after the hit movie. And I'm like, oh, that's stupid.
Remember Children of Men?
I do.
Remember when the old guy was like, strawberry cough?
I do remember.
Yeah, strawberry cough is real. Like, then these names are like, they're like the street has named official things that the government has to write and print labels for.
And they're all really stupid, and a bunch of them are existing copyrighted shit, but who cares? Who's going to fight who on that?
Pretty much. So,
all in all, a net positive experience.
Yeah. So, doing keg stands, not a good time.
Well, that's what happens when it's not legal.
Yeah, I guess.
Because if I could have gone to a store...
Well, also, your friends are jerks if they know better and they are not telling you what's up.
Oh, Pat's so high-strung anyway, it'll do him some good.
Yeah, so here's the problem is, I guess, like, when you're all stupid and young in that way, even the ones that have done it before...
We were 19 in this story.
So let's bomb him is the fun thing.
These are the same friends that hit me with the fucking, hey, Pat, hey, you just started drinking. Okay, hey, I got a really good trick for you. Just do one shot of beer a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no big.
Exactly. Like the people that want to see you, like, fucking destroyed.
And then my work friends who at one point... we were out having a regular beer, and I was like, I'll have a beer or two. But when I wasn't looking, they would refill my beer all the way to the top. And I ended up having like 15 beers.
I mean, no, you didn't.
I had many beers.
You didn't have 15 beers.
I had 30 beers. Tell me again that I didn't have 30 beers.
Because I physically, literally, one night had 9 beers.
That's many beers.
That's very many beers.
Yes.
And that was the cap. That was the absolute max.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what I will
15 beers and 1 weeds.
Okay. Well, so consider, if you will, right, that like each one of these experiences defines the edges of the road.
Yeah.
And now you know where the edges are and now to go off of them.
So now that we're on the podcast talking about getting high, what's the countdown to so? Have you tried DMT?
See, the fun thing about dimethyltryptamine...
Oh my god!
is that because it only lasts 10 minutes, you can start and end your journey more than once on a podcast.
That's that.
You can actually straight up do it because it'll last, and then you can, you could go through top to bottom. It's wild. That's some wild shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it not still kind of weird that to go to a store and buy marijuana?
No.
I find that bizarre.
No, it's completely been numb to me, and here's why. I have a friend who has chronic pain.
Yeah.
And she has been having it provided by the government for years now.
Oh, okay, well
because
that takes a lot of the weird off.
So and basically there's been weed stores here for a long time, but they're dispensaries where the person with
some kind of
illness, can get, and unlike say California where it's like, oh hey,
oh I'm so sick,
oh
dude.
you look super fucked up, bro.
So dude, I got the chemo, bro.
Yeah. Unlike that, it was like, no, this is actually super duper specifically handed out and much more highly regulated in this way. But it existed for so long that it was like, yeah, that's normal. That's a part of what's up. They already had that stuff figured out. And furthermore, like, the more you find out and the more we're learning about just like how nothing it is compared to alcohol and cigarettes.
Oh, dude, alcohol is so for real bad for you.
And... right? Like, it's so much more infinitely destructive than those two.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you find out about the fact that the only reason why it feels like it's worse is because some rich fuck asshole spent a lot of money trying to make everyone afraid of it so that he wouldn't lose his money because his business was threatened by it back in the day. And you go, holy fuck. So we were socially engineered into thinking something not that bad was infinitely worse.
I remember being a young man when I was like 14-ish, and my dad, I mentioned that a friend of mine was smoking weed, and offhand, right? And my dad was like, you gotta be real careful.
Yeah.
Right? I had friends that died from weed. And I'm like, I'm just like, you narrow your eyes just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't.
No, he's in parenting mode. He thinks he's doing the good dad.
I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, don't tell me my friend died. And I'm like, I'm sure you did have a friend that died, and that friend did smoke weed.
Yeah.
But I don't think that.
And then
the friend got hit by a car.
Exactly.
They walked across the street
totally,
high as shit.
Just,
that's what the story ended up being.
That's the narrative.
Right?
No, totally yes.
Because his friend was so blitzed that he didn't understand what crossing the street was. But in the middle of this, I go, I don't know if that's that bad. And my mom just goes, yeah, I smoked weed when I was your age.
Yeah.
Just apropos. And I'm like, wow, there was no parental discussion about how to handle this beforehand. Because then the dad turns to mom and goes, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not what you did. He clearly knew.
Mm-hmm.
The what was you just told the kid.
Why would you do this?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, exactly.
It was fucking hilarious.
Because it's all pretend. None of it's real. None of this is real.